Essentially, you're buying Zone 2 London here because you're a 10-minute walk away from a train station that ultimately is going to get you down to London in under an hour. That's quicker than you can get from Zone 3 into central London, which is a huge plus not only for this scheme but for Birmingham as well.
Hello to everyone watching and welcome to season 4 of the Investment Insights podcast by Select Property. I'm Kim Jackson. I'm here in Birmingham, joined today by our very own CSO, Carl Donaldson, and the CEO of Court Collaboration, Alex Neale, one of the biggest developers here in Birmingham. Hi everyone.
Kim. Hi Kim.
So I'm very excited to get into talking about all things Edition Birmingham. And I'll start with you, Alex, actually, on this one, with probably an obvious question, but there's nothing like Edition, obviously. But why Birmingham for this residence?
I think it was just that, we saw an opportunity there that there literally was nothing like this in Birmingham, and Birmingham needed something like this. We needed this type of product here in the city. So we thought, build a best-in-class product of the high quality that we're doing at Edition. And, with all that amenity space we've got in there, the height of the building, the beautiful surroundings of the parks and the canals in that location, it's just a fantastic product, and Birmingham needed it and no one else had done it. And I'm not sure anyone else is going to do it for a while, to be quite honest. So I think we've created something really unique there, and I'm really looking forward to bringing it forward.
I completely agree. And the sheer scale and quality of this development, I think, is going to be unrivaled for the foreseeable. And Carl, in terms of this being Select Property's second residence in Birmingham, what makes this a great opportunity for our global investors?
Well, Birmingham as a whole is doing really well in terms of its sales price, in terms of its rental growth. I think it's probably performing at about 24% in terms of sales price, nearly 19% of rental growth, and it's outstrips any city in the UK with those kind of figures. So, yep, we've completely sold out our first development, Lancaster Wharf in Birmingham, and now this Edition takes it to another level.
Alex, what does Edition bring to renters and homeowners for the city?
Well, without question, a fantastic product. Clearly, the apartments themselves are stunning. They're beautifully designed. They're well positioned. It's in a fantastic location. And I think it just creates this amazing base for people who buy here to explore Birmingham. We've got more canals than Venice in Birmingham. We've got 35 miles of canals. People don't know that, but it's amazing. I think Venice is like 31. So, you're next door to the canal network here. You can get out there, you can walk your dog, you go for a run, you can use your bike. It's brilliant. And you've just got a fantastic base to explore this amazing city.
Following on from what Alex has just said there is Marrons, the property consultancy, have stated that there's a need for 127,000 homes in Birmingham over the next couple of decades. So the demand is ever increasing in Birmingham. I think I've heard other stats before of 15,000 per annum needed too, so it's a ever evolving city, ever growing city, and Edition just fits all the things we need from Select Property in terms of quality. Demand for real premium property is what we're after, and Edition certainly fits that.
Yeah, and there's no mistake in understanding that Birmingham is a city that's rapidly growing. It's been dubbed a cultural renaissance in terms of its revival in the UK. I think in terms of its mass generation, what role does Edition play for Birmingham's transformation?
Well, again, I think it sort of anchors it as a residential location there. It's fantastic for, all those employers that are around us. We've got some of the top paid professionals in the UK on our doorstep, 12,000 of them in the Paradise development alone. So I think it creates a fantastic investment opportunity for those people and for those businesses, those blue chip clients to keep growing their businesses. And we just totally regenerated that entire area.
Carl, in terms of going back to Select Property, since global launch, we've sold over £78 million worth of property to date. And what have been the key drivers for investors who've been looking at this opportunity?
It's the location, it's the quality, it's the amount of amenity. Like Alex said earlier, it doesn't get any better in Birmingham what we're going to deliver here, So it's right next to Paradise, as you've just said, which, you've got Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Ernst & Young, all these large businesses that are now seeing Birmingham as a home instead of London to reduce their costs, to reduce their staff costs. And with HS2 coming along, obviously 49 minutes, I think it will be, to London, I think it's an amazing opportunity for this city to see that growth over the next few years. And Edition, like I say, nothing like it in the city.
I think that's a really strong point as well on HS2. We shouldn't forget that essentially you're buying Zone 2 London here, because you're a 10-minute walk away from a a train station that ultimately is going to get you down to London in under an hour. That's quicker than you can get from Zone 3 into central London, which is a huge plus not only for this scheme but for Birmingham as well. I just think it's incredible that we can offer people those sort of transport links down to the capital as well.
Yeah, we've battled with some clients who still want London, but they're buying Zone 3, Zone 4. It actually takes longer to get into the centre of London from there than it does from here. And the properties, you're probably paying the same for a 1-bedroom apartment there that you're paying for a 2-bedroom in Birmingham. And the quality is generally lower in Zone 3, Zone 4 than what we're giving here.
I completely agree. Talking with clients, they still, especially our overseas investors, they really champion trophy assets, and they think of the UK as one of the best places to put their money, but they're getting more proud of what they own now. They want to talk about what investments they've made in the city, and when they say Birmingham, you don't think of Edition first off the cusp, but they are talking about it. They get really excited about something like this that they can see themselves living in, and that's great because you can really resonate then with the kind of profile of tenant that's going to be living in that site as well. And I think the biggest feedback we've had from clients so far is that the sheer abundance of amenities is crazy. And I think when we talk about it, it's so easy to sort of rattle off all of these amazing amenities and think, well, this is actually just going to be the best place to live, full stop. But I guess when returning it to the investors and why that's so important, could you sort of expand on why Court decided to make all those movements?
Yeah, obviously, Edition is going to be a great place to live, but we want it to be fun as well. We want residents to enjoy the experience of living there. And it is, as a developer, we're always trying to outdo the competition. And as I've said before, there's nothing like this in Birmingham. But things like climbing walls, in the very top, I think that's such a fun thing to have in a building that you live in. The first swimming pool in Birmingham, which is going to be absolutely stunning. We've got roof terraces on the garden block, on Centenary Tower. We've got the gym space up there. It's just going to be a fantastic place to live. And, at the heart of all that is community. So, it's really important that the residents engage with each other. We don't want people to live in silos anymore. We want them to interact. And the whole building is designed around that interaction, engaging with your neighbours, going up to that roof terrace, doing some yoga in the morning, all of that good stuff. Yeah, I love yoga, as you can see. So I just think it's going to be a really exciting and fun place for our residents to live.
And I completely agree with that. So, renters are transient, they vote with their feet. And with Carl, what does that mean in terms of what a tenant is willing to pay for?
Yeah, we've been doing it a long time now, 20 years plus, and we've seen over that period much more demand for quality, much more demand for higher amenity, especially across the last 6-7 years. Your Turkish swimming pools didn't exist in Manchester, they're now coming to Birmingham. It's people are demanding that and they want to pay for it. They're happy to pay higher rents. They're happy to pay more for the property to get the amenities that they want. And in terms of tenant retention, we focus heavily in this on select property, and that's why we is speaking with Alex and Tom about Edition. It just fits so perfectly with what we're after in terms of how we manage the building, how tenants make friends in the building. There's the stats that say if you make one friend in a building, it goes up 75% the likelihood that you're going to stay. So you've got to create that community, create those amenities that people want to come out of their apartments, mingle with other people and make friends, and that's crucial to the running of any building.
And I think as well now with the people that are renting these apartments, they're more mature in what they're looking for. So we've got a fantastic student economy here in Birmingham, and that market has moved on significantly across the UK over the last decade. People are used to having better amenity, particularly the younger generation that are coming in and taking on these apartments. They don't want to just sit in a silo. They want to be out there. They want to be using the terrace area between the two towers to interact. I think that's really important. I think that, we've captured that in Edition in terms of the design, and that investors that are taking property here, they've got a ready-made product for people to come in and rent off them.
Obviously, with Edition Park Residence completing in 2027 and Centenary Tower, the 45-storey block, completing the following year in 2028, what are the off-plan benefits that investors can enjoy now?
I think they can piggyback off the growth in Birmingham, what is going to happen over that time. the demand. People are willing to wait for quality, and we're, with Edition, the highest quality building in the pipeline in Birmingham. And also, I think the date puts us a little bit closer to HS2. It seems a mile away at the moment in 2030, 2031, but with 2028 being completion here, you're very close to it, and be able to take that advantage with only putting in a small deposit now.
I think to add to that as well, you only have to look at where Manchester has gone to. It's a great city that has really gone a huge growth trajectory over the last decade. Birmingham is absolutely, following in its footsteps, and it's definitely on that trajectory. We've got, a lot of really good stuff happening here post Commonwealth Games. It's fantastic for the city. It really put it on the global stage. HS2 we've touched on. The likes of Goldman Sachs coming here, Ernst & Young recently, the Paradise redevelopment. There's only one place the city's going, and that's up.
So, going back to the construction now, see, between now and then, what does that relationship really look like?
Yeah, so, obviously, following the successful demolition of the old car park that was there towards the end of last year, we've got our specialist building contractor, JRL Group, who we've done another very large scheme with here in Birmingham. They're specialists at high-rise residential. They do this for breakfast down in London day in, day out. So, they've got an excellent, they do excellent quality developments for us. So it's really exciting that we're getting them started in May this year. So you'll see piling rigs and diggers on site soon, which is great, and is a really key milestone for the project. And I think it's really important for the city, to see that momentum behind such an important project. And then over the next few years, clearly, the building will start to progress up. We'll start both towers together. And it's they get to basically race each other up. And it's amazing how quickly these guys do start to throw these tall buildings up. Once you get into that cycle of your floor plates, they repeat up the building. Very efficient, all very safe, of course. And it's a really exciting time for the project.
And then going back to with Select Property then, and Carl, I know you've been with Select for a good number of years now, and you've seen the kind of developments that we've created over the years, and very few have been in partnership with other developers. So what really has been those key decisions on why we've chosen this project and why Birmingham again?
Well, yeah, as you say, we are a developer in our own right. We've done a lot of our own buildings, mainly in the UK, but other places too. But over a long period of time, we've developed a good reputation, and we need to make sure then when we partner with somebody else that they've got a good track record. They're good people, they're good to get on with, good to work together. It's very important. We've probably only had 2 partners in our history. The rest is our own developments. And it's, again, going back to the quality of the development, the location, everything just suits us perfectly with Edition. And, Birmingham as a city, Court Collaboration have got a lot more experience than we have. We have been predominantly Manchester, but Birmingham is on the up, and it just made total sense to partner with somebody who's got the best development in Birmingham. So, it's a partnership that we can see continuing and flourishing over a long time.
Yeah, I think to add to that as well, clearly what Select have done over the last 20 years is incredible. And, partnership and collaboration is in our name. So, that's how we approach every project, be it with developers, with funders, whoever it is. You've got to partner in this industry to make it successful. You've got to work together. It's a tough industry, but by collaborating and joint ventures and working, and everyone pulling in the same direction, ultimately these projects become a huge success.
Well, no, thank you very much. I think we've covered some really exciting bases. I think Edition by far is one of my most favourite developments that we've had to market now, and I'm really excited to see where it's going. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you again to all of our listeners. You can subscribe on any of our platforms of choice, so Spotify, Apple and YouTube.